Hi everybody, thank you so much for coming out to support our continued effort to change the wrongful death laws in BC. The truth is that I shouldn't have to come here today and try to get David Eby to finally take action by modernizing the wrongful death laws in BC.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day. We hope with everybody here will join us and call their MLAs and send letters out to make change. We need to be out there. We need to be more vocal, make more noise. Because Mr. Eby told me 6 years ago, Shelley, it's changing. Things will change. We're still here, Eby. Where are you?
I'm Dr. Sharon Anderson. I hold 2 masters in nursing and a doctorate from Columbia University, New York. It's my personal experience with tragedy and my research and development on bereavement, complicated grieving, intersectoral discrimination in healthcare, and patient advocacy that bring me here today. These mothers here today are seeking justice for the wrongful deaths of their children. Professional codes and responsibilities on paper are not enough to achieve accountability. Mr. Horgan and Mr. Eby modernized these acquainted BC wrongful death laws to compensate these mothers for their children's deaths as a start to a quest for accountability, and now better care will follow. Thank you very much.
As we found out, there is no laws to protect victims and families. If a loved one dies due to negligence, there's nowhere to go, and you're re-traumatized over and over by the blatant lack of accountability or justice for victims. There is no one to sue, which means no reason for anything to change. People say, well, this shouldn't be about money. They fail to see that financial compensation as well as court action is the answer, as this ensures companies hire and train staff to provide proper care, and that companies are held at higher standards. This is prevention for future wrongful deaths. I'm here today with other grieving family members to ask that you join us in demanding the BC government be a leader in wrongful death laws, and to make the trauma of losing a loved one to wrongful death in the future be less painful by allowing a path to justice and accountability. This is the very least our elected leaders in government should do for us.
First of all, I just want to thank everybody for coming out here. I know it's a beautiful day out here, and I'm sure that there are better places that we would love to be, but unfortunately, we're here. Currently in BC, the value of a human life is measured only by the deceased future's lost income. This archaic legislation denies families justice for the wrongful death of their children, elderlies, and disabled family members. How is BC the last province to make steps towards innovation and basic human rights? The only way to make changes in this case, as well as all the others, is to allow for the law to change and give children, the elderly, and the disabled a voice. We should be allowed to hold those in charge accountable for their actions. Otherwise, how do we move towards bettering this broken system?
I'm a lawyer. I'm about to retire. I've been working on this issue for over 20 years. And you people are the agents of change. We can't do it, but you can collectively through joining in their name, through donating, through petitions, through applying political pressure to change what is an outrageous law. When people in our society wrongfully cause others to be harmed, we hold them accountable for the harms and losses they cause. Unless someone causes a death, then in BC, our laws arbitrarily distinguish between people on the basis of their income. BC's Family Compensation Act doesn't recognize the loss of a loved one, only that person's income. So if the person doesn't have an income when they are accidentally killed, if they are a child or a grandparent, if they are someone with disabilities or a student or an at-home mother, there is no legal recourse for their death. And this is wrong. The only way to honor all people, whoever they are, and keep our society safe and prevent repeated mistakes, deadly mistakes, is to recognize the loss of everyone who dies as a result of someone's wrongful conduct and hold that wrongdoer accountable. Our society has drafted a law that will hold people who cause wrongful death accountable regardless of the status of the victim. But so far, the government, BC government, has taken no action to change the law. And this needs to change now. Thank you.
Hi, folks. My name is Pete Fry. I'm a city councilor here in Vancouver. And as we traditionally do, I do want to acknowledge we're on the unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. And as I make that acknowledgement, I also need to acknowledge that, in fact, it's Indigenous people in this province who are disproportionately impacted by the failure to update our wrongful death legislation, and we know this as a fact. And it just highlights and underscores the deeply discriminatory nature of wrongful death legislation in our province today. I also want to acknowledge the grief and the pain that you're sharing today. And I know you're all here for someone that you cared about and that you've lost. And it's profound through your grief, the work that you're doing, and it's so critically important. But when I saw my friend Anne's Facebook posts filled with grief and pictures of her beautiful, smart, accomplished daughter, and there was a whiff of scandal in him amongst the grief. And so I reached out and, you know, what's going on? And she explained what happened. And I'm like, well, geez, Anne, get a lawyer. And that's when she told me that she couldn't get a lawyer. No lawyer would touch this because of wrongful death legislation in our province. And I was shocked. Here I am, an elected official. I should know that this failure to amend an antiquated law is so deeply impacting people in my city and my province. So we worked on a motion, and I brought it to my colleagues at City Council, and we passed it unanimously, a motion to bring this to the Union of BC Municipalities. We brought it to the Lower Mainland Local Government Association, where again, mayors and councillors from across the Lower Mainland were shocked to hear the extent and the failure of wrongful death legislation in our province. And then we brought it to the province, to the UBCM, and it passed. It struggled a little bit because many folks said that it was really outside of our jurisdiction, that as local elected politicians, we weren't really supposed to get involved in this kind of thing. I disagree, and we argued that, and we had a tougher time, but it passed there as well. And it went to the province, and we did have a commitment from the minister that this would be something that would be addressed in this term of government. But I want to say just that it was the advocacy of folks like you, it was the advocacy of In Their Name that actually compelled all of us to act. And I know it's tough, the work you're doing, and it feels like you're pushing a rock up a hill, but you are making a difference. You completely shifted the perspective at the City of Vancouver. You completely shifted the perspective in the governments of the Lower Mainland. You completely shifted the perspective of mayors and councillors across British Columbia, and that's just in the matter of a couple of years. So I know it's tough, but I really, and I'm with you. And I told Anne earlier that if I can help in other ways, obviously we passed what we could in a legislative sense, but I'm also here to help in an organizational capacity as you guys need. And I just want you to have some hope that you are pushing up a rock up a hill. But I'm so hopeful, and I feel that we're at the top of that hill, and we will get meaningful change in their name, and for all of you who've lost loved ones that are here today. And I thank you for sharing this space with me.
Learn more and donate to support the cause at intheirname.ca.